Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mr. Guy, Board Game Geek, bringing you a new series. We're going to do a solo playthrough of a game I've played competitively a number of times, and that is Scythe. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this is that I've never owned a copy, but Stonemaier Games Jamie was kind enough to send me a copy for basically review or playthrough, and I've decided to do a solo playthrough of it. Now, why don't I own a copy? Is it because I don't think the game's good? Or no, it's because I didn't do the original. I think it was Kickstarted, and everybody had these beautiful, like several friends that have these beautiful Kickstarter copies of this game. Not that this is not beautiful. We're going to take a look at it because I don't think I've ever seen a retail version of Scythe. I've only seen the ones that came with all the Kickstarter components and extras and cool stuff. It's just massive amounts of cool stuff, and so we only ever played that. I didn't feel a need to get a copy, because everybody else had a better copy than I could get, so without spending lots and lots of money. So here we are. We're going to take a look at Scythe. I'm going to open up this box and show a retail box because I don't remember seeing one. I kind of poked around through some videos and didn't see it. And then I may not do it next, but we are then going to do a solo play of this game. And the solo mode was created by Automa Factory, which is interesting that it's different than the original designer. So we'll have to see. But let's pop this open and see it's still in shrink. Isn't that cool? Anyway, let's pop this open and see what we got in here. Now, just to touch on it, Scythe is made by Stonemaier Games, designed by Jamie Stegmaier and Jacob Rosalski. I'm going to blow this, Rosalski, I think. That sounds really good. Okay, anyway, it is for 1 to 5 players, 14 plus, 115 minutes. And again, you're looking at, and the art in this is just phenomenal. Beautiful artwork on the box as well. So you can see that there's art all around the box. Let's take a look at the back real quick. It does show you that you get, I mean, it looks, when I look at this, I see most of the same things you'd see in the Kickstarter, except I don't think you got like some of the metal bits and stuff like that that goes along with it. And I believe all the plastic components are still there, and there's probably some extras that you don't get. But that's the back of the box right there. And so we're going to pop this open and take a look at it. Again, I'm going to definitely do a solo play of it. Yeah, see, these tokens, I think, now the books all look the same. We'll take a look at those in a moment. But I think these tokens are thicker or different. Maybe these aren't, but this stuff, these coins are, for sure. The coins are metal, right? And so there's a couple of stacks of cardboard tokens there. I mean, they're really nice. Don't get me wrong. They're plenty. They're completely sufficient for gameplay. It's just I wasn't used. I remember the Kickstarter versions, and it looks like this is the bigger board too. Well, maybe not. The big enough board, I'll say. We'll put the board out in a minute. We'll get that out in a minute. But let's just keep going through the box first and see what we got in here. Something I love. This shows you that this was made by a gamer. Do you know why? Because baggies are important. Yes, storage is something that's important. This game did pay a mind to storage. I do remember that. That was a very important thing. You can see that the miniatures in here are all stored nicely and have their own space in the box. I do remember the other box is quite a bit bigger. I think it has a bigger, different layout. Regardless of that, here's all the wooden components, which the Stonemaier Games is famous for. You can see all those. And again, now I do remember that a lot of the components, I think these are the same as the Kickstarter version. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't the normal retail version, but it certainly feels like I remember there were some bigger, bolder components for the Kickstarter. Cards, lots of cards, which we can get into. You know, and then this is for, yeah, there's some more stuff. I remember these are the upgrades you can do at the factory. And then you got these event type cards. And then they actually included these cool little Stonemaier storage things for the other components that you need to store. Plus, don't forget you got your boards. These are not the main player boards, but those are the combat things you do combat on. These are the top parts of the main player boards right here. And I'm going through this quickly because most of you have probably seen this. And I don't know the solo rules, so I'm going to really have to read up on that. And it's not necessarily, again, not a complicated game, but a complex game, which that's the type of game I like. Anyway, so we played this a bunch competitively. I don't know how it plays solo, so we're going to find out, though. Since Bjorn, I'm playing a Bjorn right now, and Conan Exiles, which you might be watching. And you can see that these are the characters. So when you see the miniatures, guys, these are the characters that go along or associated with these miniatures. So when you pick or divide up, or however you do it, you're going to have two things: your faction and your character. This is your faction board, and I really like the faction boards. They're indented so that when you place things on them, they don't move around, which is really cool. And these are your actions. And you notice that each of the factions' actions, well, they might be in a different order. They might be slightly different, which I think is very cool. Well, they not might be, they are. But when you do this, you you attach a character to your board that goes along with it, and it has they don't really connect completely, but you get the idea. So you have two boards that you're playing on. These are going to give you upgrades for different things, and this is your board that you're going to be using to build resources, to build more stuff, to go fight, to do all kinds of things. And again, you can see that the artwork on it is just gorgeous, lovely artwork. I love it, real pretty, and I love that each of these characters is different and provides different abilities, and that you can mix and match, because that gives you a ton of playability, replayability. And I'll go over how things like, see, there's these buildings that you can also build that are in these spots, and you can, when you build them, you move them off the spot onto the board, and now you have access to them in various capacities, and you can build multiples of certain kinds. It's a really cool game, lots of neat stuff that you can do. And I might be misspeaking, but that's okay. Like I said, I gotta go learn the solo game, and I have played but I've played the competitive game enough times that I think I'll be able to adapt to it pretty quickly. And there's the other couple of factions. Again, you can see how beautiful and distinct the artwork is on it. Very, very nice artwork, right, for each of the factions. And I don't remember what each of the factions is or does specifically, but again, they all are slightly different. So when you compare the bolster thing, see, that's not even the same order. Their bolster's down here that this one has in front. So it makes a difference, guys. It makes a difference in the game how that plays out, which is one of the unique things about the game. And again, talk about replayability, especially with asymmetrical or factions in that. It's really, really neat. So let's take a look at the books first. Again, this is just going to be a short video to tell you what I'm going to be doing, and then we're going to get into the details. I got to find the solo rules, and we're going to learn to play that. They're probably just in the book. I've never looked at it. I was taught this game, so this is going to be interesting because I've kind of read through the rules, but I've never actually read the rules. You can see that the rules are distinctly well laid out and beautiful as well, and the map board is really neat. We're going to take a look at that too, but it talks about the bottom row of the faction, the top row. It's really neat stuff, and it's not, like I said, complex, not complicated. Very different thing, and it tells you what each of the top row actions, how they affect the bottom row actions, etc., etc. Again, just a really neat game. I'm sure there's lots of playthroughs that you could go look at it. I don't think I've seen a solo playthrough of this yet that I've noticed. I'm going to go back and look, but we're going to do a solo one because you can. And again, I got to go look at the rules. Oh, here it is, the Automa player. So this is the solo rules here. This is the book that I need to read to play. And it actually looks like it's going to, you're going to have a dummy type faction that plays with certain types of actions, but it looks like it might be more specific than that. So we're going to get into that and take a look at how that's going to play out. Now again, I don't know if this is going to be the exact next playthrough because I had made some promises, but I also have a promise and a commitment to this because they were kind enough to send me one. And it's a great game, don't get me wrong, and I'm glad they sent it to me. And again, I want to be clear, the only reason I don't own this game is because of what I told you, that everybody else I know had a copy, and it was a nicer copy than I could have gotten, so we always played with that. But let's get the board out and take a look. Okay, well, here is the board, one part of the board, and it is double-sided. So you can see that the spaces on the other side are much bigger, and there's a companion board. I don't think I can play it with this. I don't think I have it in this, and that's one of the biggest differences in the in this version of it, is that the other version has this massive board. I'll take a look to see, but it's not that, I mean, this one's massive on its own. You don't need to play on a bigger board. We most often played on this one. We did play on the other one that actually had much larger squares on it, and that made it interesting. But this is the board, and you can see, again, it's just beautiful. You can see where each of the factions starts, right? So, and when we get into play, you'll see how it works out. But then there's places for all the cards. There's places for that's the victory point scoring area. there's so many different things in this game. When we do get to the playthrough, I'll go over some of that. But like I said, I'm going to have to kind of learn this. I'm going to probably do a test play before I get to the actual play of the solo version. And so, you know, putting this back on your radar, I've been thinking about doing a series of, like, I don't want to say throwbacks because it's not like this is an old game, but, you know, just going backwards in time and playing some games, because I have tons of games on my shelf that I still play. I just don't play them on the channel because, you know, I'm trying to show newer things you may not know about, or things that I tend to go back to as like ones that people enjoy, like Darkest Night and some of those ones. But, you know, there are so many other games that I have that are not even necessarily solo playerable, that are really awesome, that I've kept in my collection because I love them. For example, going back a number of years, Drumroll was one of my favorite Euro type games that came out. It's really neat. Last Will, man, we played Last Will like crazy, and I'm throwing those into this because it's a Euro style game with lots of options and things like that. But this one, you know, territory management, control, resource management, player actions, all kinds of. Basically, this covers the gamut. It also has a combat in it. It's not my favorite combat system, but it's functional for this game because it's not the main focus of the game, but it can become an integral part, and it does work. It's very functional. It's just I've seen other games that have a more interesting combat mechanic, even though the wheel, how you pick your, you know, secretly pick things is interesting, and I wonder how it's going to play out in solo because I have no idea. But again, played this game a whole lot, and you know, I love it when you start getting your mechs down on the field. You start to enhance your mechs. So we all have mechs. Those are our big military units, and you also have people that run around here for you. And as you can see, they're meeples. These are resource meeples, but there are ones for people meeple. You can see right there. Those are peoples. And you also, in the buildings as well, and the different faction colors and that you can place out on the board. They have different effects. Some of them allow you to make a tunnel to get across from one spot to the other. Some of them allow you to gather multiple resources or more resources from the same place. One of the other things I love about this, showing that this was designed by a gamer, is how to store it. Yeah, how to store your game in the game box. Isn't that cool? So obviously that's a really neat thing, because that's something I always struggle with. Now right now it's going to be fine because I haven't unpacked everything. I haven't taken out all the cards. I mean, but there's plenty of baggies and stuff for all the resources and things that we need. Bags for the cards. I think you get the idea. So we're going to learn how to play this solo, and I'm probably going to ask for a lot of help in this one. The reason being is because I believe that we'll be able to take a turn. The turns are going to be fairly long, but I don't think there's going to be so many turns that I'm doing a 15-episode thing just trying to get you to play with me so you can play along with me. But I think there's going to be times where I get to let you make the choices. And we're going to see if we can do that, because that would be fun. And in a strategy game, you know, I'm sure you much rather participate than watch, right? Or maybe not, I don't know. You tend to seem to like to watch them too. But this is what we're going to do. So this is going to just be a short video to say, hey, this is what's coming up as part of our playthroughs. We're going to be doing the solo version of Scythe, and I'm looking forward to it. So keep your eyes open for the next video. This was just a quick thing to show you what I got. Like I said, I got the retail version. I'm not even going to unbox the cards or anything yet. We will do that. And by the way, the artwork, oh my god. One thing I loved about this game, and all their games actually, is the artwork. Always top-notch. Artwork and components. Man, just can't go wrong there with their game products. So, that said, and by the way, you know, I don't show a lot of competitive games, but I have played I think I've played all their games. All of the Stonemaier games. If I'm not mistaken. Isn't Charterstone? Maybe I'm wrong. Don't say something out of turn, Doug. Hold on just a sec. Because I'm playing that one too. And yeah, so Charterstone is one I have as well. Because, again, it's something I don't know you can play it solo. But, you know, lots of great games from them. So check out Stonemaier Games and just look at how beautiful. I mean, I'm getting stumbling on this, but here's what I want to say about it. I'm trying to remember what's in the Kickstarter version and not, because the game is so beautiful on its own. If this is the retail version, which I believe it is, man, I thought there'd be much greater differences between them, but there doesn't. appear to be on the surface. I mean, I'm sure, like I said, metal coins. Okay, yeah, it'd be nice to have metal coins, but overall, man, the quality is just so nice. This board is the same board, except on the other side, you know, we had the much bigger board. And I do believe I don't have, in this version, you don't get both sides. You have to buy the, I'm just double checking. Yeah, you'd have to buy the other half of the board, which is okay because you don't need it. I mean, you can see that, look at the size of this thing. It's massive, right? You don't need it. Everything fits, everything plays out well. In fact, you know, if you're on a normal table, this is probably a better way to go. But when I got my big gaming table, my Game Crafters table, or actually, I want to make sure I said Game Toppers table, you can have a bigger board there and play it. Because remember, you got your faction boards too, right? So you have your faction boards, you have this main board, and all the other components that go out there that need to be dealt with. So there's quite a bit going on. And if you have a big enough footprint, you can play it that way. But if you don't, this is the way to play anyway. But, I mean, just look at the quality of the artwork in it. I just can't imagine how much... I'm trying to remember how different it is, and I can't. All the wooden components I thought were maybe more exclusive to the Kickstarter edition, and they're not. They're in this box, too. So, you know, if you don't have the game, you don't have the retail edition, or the Kickstarter edition, then I think that you're okay getting this if you like this game enough. I really do. I think it's just as nice. You're only missing a few things. And those things don't seem to be hypercritical in the game. So, and now again, I may be wrong in saying that maybe there's some components, extra components they threw in for me, but I don't think so. I think this just came off the shelf retail. So, that being said, guys, thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. This is just a quick. I wanted to unbox this for you, show you what was in it, and tell you what we're going to be doing with it. We're going to be doing the solo game and see how that plays out. Really curious. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm very curious how it's going to go. And anyway, guys, I will see you in the next episode of whatever. I just finished up Dungeons Degenerates. Thank you. It's English, Doug. Come on now. And I'm also doing Conan Exiles as well as Subnautica on the PC. So we'll get to continue to watch those. Plus, I still have my sights on For Against Darkness. And a couple other games that I've acquired that would be good for solo. I also got some other things too, but we're talking about Scythe right now and what's upcoming. So this will be on the table very, very soon. Just wanted to give you a little preview of that and show you that, because it made a difference for me, right? I did not buy this game because everybody else had the beautiful Kickstarter's edition, not because I didn't like the game. And if you're in that boat, then this might push you over the edge because you're getting the same thing. It's almost got all the right stuff in it, and that bigger board is only relevant to some people. So if for whatever reason you held off getting this game because of that, I can tell you right now after seeing this, don't. And I didn't know what to expect before opening the box. I just said, well, it's probably going to be downgraded components, and I'm learning, well, it's really not. It's actually mostly the same from my perspective. So guys, anyway, I'll talk to you in the next video, and I will see you soon.